My ex and I have 2 kids together. We were together for nearly 11 years and split 5 years ago. The first 2 years went fine. He saw the kids every other weekend and checked up on them often. 3 years ago, however, he started dating a girl from the racetrack who happens to race every Thursday and Saturday night. This instantly got him into the gig. During that time, his every other weekend visits were put on hold and he stopped seeing the kids altogether during the racing months. Usually, 3 to 5 months at a time, depending on whether and if he could race or not, simply because he and his girlfriend both raced on different days. As I said, she is Thursday and Saturday, he is Wednesday and Friday. Not once has he asked if I could bring the kids to his races. He has also stopped paying child support because all their extra cash goes to fixing up their race cars after races, which apparently becomes over the top expensive. I didn't say anything up until a year ago. I told him I was done making excuses for him and that if he didn't start putting the kids as his top priority, I would be taking him to court. After that, he blocked me off of everything and didn't see them until almost a month ago, for the first time in a year, and that was only because we happened to be visiting my cousin and he showed up. He filled the kids' heads with "I've missed you so much, I'm going to start my visits up again, blah blah." Then he went no contact again and has made 0 attempts. So, the courthouse just opened, and as soon as it did, I went down and filed paperwork for full custody, child support, and visitation. When we first split up, I told him I would not do this, so I went back on my word. I get a nasty phone call from my ex-mother-in-law stating that I was money hungry and that I was trying to stress her precious son out and make him feel bad for having an actual hobby, unlike myself. Yes, she said I have no hobbies. Pretty hard when I'm a single mom of 2 who works 2 jobs just to keep a roof over my babies' heads. He also has been posting on social media saying idiot kept my kids from me and now wants child support for a failed relationship. Go figure. I never kept the kids from him. I have loads of texts sent asking him to take them with no response. I think it's justified what I did, but now I'm worried about how it is going to affect my kids because it's obvious that forcing him to take kids he doesn't want may not be the best option. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Document texts, emails, Facebook posts. From everyone involved. Take him to court for the child support he hasn't paid. He will be court ordered to cough it up or go have a nice stay in the county jail. Once you have full custody, send an email stating that you will allow him to still see the kids every other weekend. Just email you back to set up a schedule. The proof is key in this process: bank statements showing no child support deposits, text messages, emails, etc. Good luck. Not the idiot, and it won't force him to take the kids, at least not in any jurisdiction I've heard of. Parenting time or visitation is given to the non-custodial parent and the custodial must have the kids available for it, but it does not obligate the non-custodial to take them. If he doesn't show up, there's nothing to do about that except showing the court his lack of interest and reducing the time allowed. Holding him accountable for the child support he's choosing not to pay in favor of fixing a car is completely reasonable and does not make you an idiot. Not the idiot. You know what's worse than a mother-in-law? An ex-mother-in-law. Who cares if you went back on your word? You wouldn't have to if he didn't go back on his obligation to his children. I've been divorced for a decade. The only reason I see anything is because it's garnished. And he rarely even talks to the kids. They mostly see through it now that they're older. They know who is there for them and who they can rely on. And when they're adults, I know who they will thank and look to. And my ex-mother-in-law still makes excuses for her precious baby boy, even though she knows he's hurting the boys. A bit of background. My fiancé and I have been together for 2 years and engaged for 6 months. My best friend is a girl that I dated in high school from the ages of 16 to 18 and briefly after college. We have been close friends for over 10 years. When I met my fiancé, my best friend had recently gotten hit by a car on her bike. She was immobilized and ended up gaining like 100 pounds. She started exercising regularly again and has lost a lot of weight. My fiancé has been getting increasingly more short with my best friend. My friend group literally groans when I say I'm going to be bringing her along for outings. When I ask my fiancé about it, she says she is becoming uncomfortable with my friendship with my best friend. She never expressed this before. When I ask her why, she doesn't give me a reason other than she doesn't like it. 2 years ago, when I asked her if she was okay with it, she was. The party. My best friend was throwing a big birthday party to celebrate a lot of different things. A granted research proposal, weight loss, and a recent engagement. Her fiancé and I are good friends also. When I arrived at the party and saw best friend, I spun her around, told her she looked great, and gave her a hug. My fiancé just stared at her, looked her up and down, and says just letting it all hang out tonight huh. Best friend said something I didn't catch, and they started yelling and arguing back and forth. Best friend's fiancé and I had to separate them. Once everything calmed down, best friend's fiancé came up to us and said that my fiancé had to leave, but I should stay. She tried to argue with him, but he walked away. I called an Uber for my fiancé and sent her home. She got super pissed that I wasn't going home with her. This morning has been one of yelling and screaming in an insane amount. My fiancé thinks I abandoned her and didn't stand up for her at the party. She is threatening to leave. Knowing the situation, would you say that I was the idiot for letting her go home after the party alone? I wanted to celebrate with my friends and not be burdened by her attitude problem. For the sake of brevity, some details may be missing. I will fill them in if they are relevant. Everyone's the idiot here. Your fiancé needs to learn to express her feelings without being super rude to people and making a scene. However, it's been insensitive of you not to address the issue until it came to a head like this. You make it pretty clear you know why your girlfriend is uncomfortable with your friendship with your ex, and then abandoning your fiancé when she reacted strongly to a display of affection with obvious romantic connotations with somebody she now knows you find attractive enough to date. Everyone's the idiot here. Your fiancé was incredibly rude. What she said seemed really uncalled for and embarrassing. On the other hand, your friendship with this other girl is making her uncomfortable for some reason. Ask her why it's changed from her being okay with it to not so okay with it. I have to say, if my husband picked up another woman and spun her around while telling her she looks great, I would be uncomfortable as well. I also wonder if you complimented your fiancé on how she looks. If not, no wonder she is insecure. Everyone's the idiot here. Except for the birthday lady. Your fiancé is a jealous, insecure, mean girl. She insulted your friend in her own home. Why are you with someone like this? If your significant other is thrown out, you go too. You can abjectly apologize on your way out, but you leave too. You can let your fiancé know she was out of line. You can discuss why she is so weird about your friend. You can break up. But while she is your partner, you leave with her. My dude, your friend group does not like your fiancé. With good reason. You have some deep thinking to do. I, 19, have a strained relationship with my parents. I live with some friends while they go to college and I work full-time. I saw my parents for the first time yesterday since I moved out in June of 2019. It was awkward. I am the oldest of their 2 children. I have a little sister who is 16 now. She's special needs and has required a lot of care since she was a toddler. My parents were very good parents for her. They did everything they could to be good for her, but because I was neurotypical, I was expected to be okay with making sacrifices, missing out, and becoming a caregiver. It was so hard. I didn't get birthday parties, we didn't celebrate Christmas like other families, because we had to be quiet, so my celebration wouldn't be upset, my sister. I spent a lot of time feeling embarrassed and ashamed. I was resentful. I blamed my sister for a few years. And then I turned my anger on my parents and we would fight a lot. They didn't understand why I couldn't be more okay with not having birthday parties when I knew my sister found them too much, and they never got why I would be upset when I had to miss out on field trips or didn't go to friends' parties or couldn't go to a movie with kids from school. I could sometimes go to a friend's house, very occasionally, but they were never welcome at our house, and most of the time I was expected to come home and help my mom out with my sister. I left once I was old enough to legally. I didn't go to college for a few reasons, but I did get a job and I support myself. It's the first time I can say I have nice things since I was 5 and I got a Barbie for Christmas. The estrangement was natural. They would ask me to come back and help them and I would ignore them. Then yesterday I did decide to visit them after so many requests to come and help, and they wanted to tell me how crappy I was for not helping with my sister and helping them more since they did so much for me. I snapped. I told them they weren't good parents to me. I told them I wasn't important to them after my sister was born, that I was used to make life easier for them, but my needs or wants didn't matter. I told them my childhood screwed because they stopped trying to give me one, they wanted an adult. And I told them I deserved so much better. I stormed off and came home early. My mom left a message for me telling me I was a brat for not being more understanding. Am I the idiot for what I said? Not the idiot, your sister is their responsibility to care for, not yours. You can be supportive and friendly, you can help when and how it's convenient for you, but it's ridiculous that they expect you to revolve your entire life around being a caregiver to your sister. Also, you're an adult, it's normal to have boundaries between you and your family now, especially after going through years feeling neglected and being forced into a caregiver's role. Wow. Not the idiot. At all. I get that having a special needs child is hard, but you're absolutely right. They didn't treat you like the child you were. They treated you like an adult caregiver and you weren't. They could have done a million things to make sure you had at least a somewhat normal childhood, and they dropped the ball every time. I mean, no parties. Why couldn't sister go stay with a relative for a few hours so you could have a freaking birthday if she got so stressed? I just blocked them. Not the idiot. Your parents put all their efforts into caring for your sister at the cost of your childhood. You have every right to go no contact after that. You're their child too, not your sister's assistant caregiver. I can understand them not wanting to upset her, but they should really have let you go on field trips and spend time with your friends and have some level of normalcy. I doubt it would have broken the bank to buy you a gift and cake every birthday and some Christmas gifts. I'm 16 and on the spectrum. Yes, this is very relevant to the story. So, my therapist suggested to my parents that I should get a puppy to help me expressing empathy and communicating verbally more. I did not want a puppy. I told my parents that I did not want a puppy. I don't want any pets. But my parents put their foot down, told me they were going to get me a puppy and I could view it as part of my therapy. They got me a husky puppy and told me it was my sole responsibility, no one else in the family was going to take care of it, siblings included. I want to say I don't mind dogs for limited periods of time, but the problem with this husky puppy is it's loud as hell, it doesn't smell great, hell the wet dogs smell, and it likes licking me and doing a lot of things that puppies generally like to do. I am in a continuous state of sensory overload, and I know it's not fair to the puppy for behaving like a puppy, but it's really freaking annoying. I haven't neglected it, I want to be clear on this, I feed it on time every day, I try and play with it, I bathe it, I clean up after it, that also stinks, but it's just been making me always on the verge, and I can't take it. My family does nothing. Even if my dog pees on the carpet or whatever, they'll just call me to clean it. A month in, I decided that this situation wasn't fair to me or the husky, and I decided to rehome it. I mentioned looking for a new home for my puppy in front of my parents, they never said anything. Well, my friend mentioned to me that his parents were thinking of getting him a puppy for his upcoming birthday, so I contacted his parents, told them about my husky situation, and it worked out great. My friend has other dogs, so I knew that the puppy was going to be taken care of, and I was like, this is a great coincidence, all is well. My parents noticed the missing puppy and asked me about it, and I was like, yeah, I rehomed it. They're super pissed because they thought my earlier conversations about were spoken out of frustration and that I wasn't going to actually go through with it, and accused me of sabotaging my own therapy and called me ungrateful. I feel like crap, honestly, like I know you're supposed to love and take care of pets, but I couldn't, so am I really the idiot for giving away the puppy? Not the idiot. That's not how any of this is supposed to work. If your parents wanted to get you a therapy dog, they should have gotten you a fully trained and certified service animal, not a puppy. They essentially gave you a baby to raise on your own, which is extremely cruel to both you and the puppy. What a couple of jerks. If they try to get you another dog, make it damn clear that you will not be in charge of the animal and want nothing to do with it. Not the idiot, forcing someone who flat out said, I don't want a puppy to 100% care for a high-maintenance, exuberant puppy was an idiot move on the part of your parents. Just because a therapist suggested it doesn't make it law. The person's preference is to be taken into account as well. I guess what the therapist meant was if OP is interested in having a puppy and caring for said puppy, that might be beneficial, which is a world away from your parents deciding we'll force OP to care for an unwanted animal to make them more empathetic. Not the idiot. I am a huge dog lover, and it sounds like you really did the best for both of you. A husky is not a good first dog for someone, especially someone who is not a big fan of dogs anyways. They require a lot of exercise, attention, and training, which is why they are one of the top dogs in shelters. People get them because they look cool and then cannot handle them. Why they didn't get something like a miniature poodle and agree to also help care for it to ease into pet ownership is beyond me. I, 20, have this hobby of drawing. I'm not very talented, but I do enjoy it lots. Through the years I gathered quite some art supplies. I keep this pencil case with lots of colored pencils which my sister, 14, can use. Yet I do have sets I told her she's not allowed to use that I keep separately because she has a tendency of destroying stuff, and those are my good and expensive ones. Those ones she can use aren't bad though. I don't buy the cheapest stuff, but I hope you get what I mean. Today I woke up to see my watercolors massacred on her desk. This set is made of pencils whose lead is soluble in water and some other qualities that make them one of my favorite sets. It was a new set, barely used, and now lots of them were broken in two, tips missing and stuff like that made my heart sink. I spent a lot of work to get the money to buy them, and now they were gone. I asked her what happened, and she told me that she has an assignment to do, and it's not right that I have colors she doesn't. I told her she should have asked before and not destroy them like that. It also turned up that her assignment was due in 2 weeks, so could have waited for me to wake up and was a graphite drawing. Meaning she needed to use only the usual pencils, not colored ones. So her story was crap. I told her that what she did is stealing and that you can't go and take stuff from people just because you want it. She told me that she can take whatever she wants from me or otherwise she will ask mom. This isn't the first time she destroys something of mine. My old laptop fell to her hands, and so on and so on. The following dialogue occurred. Until you change your behavior, you're not allowed to use any of my stuff, none of my colors, none of my games from Steam, nothing. Not even to take out my bearded dragon who you promised to help to take care of, but you shirk each time it's cleaning or feeding time. No, you're mean. And he's mine. And I'll tell mom. He is not yours at all. You haven't spent a cent on him, or his supplies or ever took care of him. You are just playing with him when it suits you, and I told you to stop picking his tail. It may not drop, but it doesn't mean it's pleasant. I'll consider lifting the ban when you'll change your behavior and care about stuff. Until then, you're stuck with yours. She ran to mom, who told her it's her problem to solve. She then called and texted her friends from school who are now writing hateful messages on my art page. I couldn't care less about them, and I blocked them, no problem. But I can't help but think that I overreacted or have been an idiot to my sis. I love her, but she needs to understand not everything is for her. Not the idiot. Your stuff, your rules, I hope your parents understand that. Your sister is in due need of some enforced boundaries, or else she is prone to turn into a completely entitled brat. Put your expensive stuff in a container or box with a lock and keep the key to yourself. As for the Steam account, change the password and disable auto login. Then she can't access your games. Also, what the hell is she doing to the bearded dragon? You don't ever pick at its tail. Sorry, but that is cruel towards the animal. And what do you mean by play? Reptiles aren't cats or dogs, so please stop that playing thing. Not the idiot. For me, this isn't even actually about the art supplies themselves, but the continued lack of care and respect for the OP and her belongings. She is privileged to have access to these kinds of supplies, and it is only because of your kindness and generosity that she does, and it is high time she was reminded of that. The more you give, the more people take. You are asserting boundaries, and by the sounds of it, they are long overdue. Definitely not the idiot. Your sister needs to learn some respect.